Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations, the European Council will be awaiting a clear message from the UK on a way forward.
The European Council said EU leaders are awaiting for a clear message from the UK on a way forward on Brexit. The UN's Migration Agency reported that over 20,000 people were displaced recently due to hostilities in Libya.
I expect them to take action now because there's not much time.
A young Swedish activist has called on European Parliament to take action on climate change now. These are the headlines. More coming on your way on the world today on iAfrica TV. It's 5 p.m. in Istanbul and 7 a.m. in Washington State, 14 GMT here in the Gambia. You are watching the World Today Afternoon Bulletin. We now kick off with our first story. The President of the European Council has asked the UK for a clear message on the Brexit after its extension until the end of October, with a review expected in June. Leaders of the European Union agreed on April 10 to grant an extension to the UK on Brexit up to the end of October, with a review in June. The UK was set to leave the EU on March 29, but after failing 3 times to secure her deal in the House of Commons, May was given an extension by the EU. In a 2016 referendum, British voters decided to leave the bloc after more than 40 years long membership. Here is an insight.
The European Council will be awaiting a clear message from the UK on a way forward. If the withdrawal agreement were to be ratified, the extension period will automatically end on the first day of the following month. I have strongly opposed to the idea that during this further extension, the UK should be treated as a second-category member state. No, it cannot. Therefore, I also ask you to reject similar ideas if they were to be voiced in this House. I know that on both sides of the channel, everyone, including myself, is exhausted with Brexit, which is completely understandable.
Remains of 7 soldiers, victims of the November 11, 1994 failed coup attempt was today revealed to the press and victims of families respectively at the Union Barracks. The process came barely a month after some families appeared before the commission and appealed for the remains of their loved ones to be given back for them for a proper burial. The TRRC, led by the chairman, Dr. Lamin J. Sise, headed a delegation comprising TRRC staff, including the legal team, to inspect bodies that were exhumed by the TRRC. Research investigation team led by the Superintendent Thomas Gomez, forensic archaeologist. Joining us on the line is our very own reporter Sajo Sambu from the TRRC headquarters, who went with the team on the said side. Sajo Sambu, thank you for joining us. First, can you confirm to us the number of bodies found at the said site?
Yes, thank you very much. The bodies that are exhumed today at the Yundum barracks where they were in a mass grave buried is 7 bodies that they were able to recover today, confirmed by the lead research and investigation team, Thomas Gomez, the archaeologist.
Well, is that the only, a mass burial site in the barracks there?
Well, it has been, Alasan, I can confirm you no, because according to the explanation we were given, that they even had to dig about three mass graveyards before the fourth one they were able to find the 7 bodies that were dumped into one graveyard. They dug 3 and couldn't find any body. Then the fourth one they found some bodies. Then, according to the lead investigator and research team, Thomas, there is another mass grave by the clinic, which they would obviously be digging by next week too. And in fact, there is also another one just near the one they were able to dig today. They said by tomorrow they will dig another one, which they suspect is just some few meters away from the one they dug today. So there are a couple of mass graves here inside that Yundum barracks.
Well, we understand family members were also present. Can you tell us the reaction of these family members when they saw the exhumed bodies of their loved ones?
It was an emotional day, Alassane. Everybody was so emotional, including my own self, because even some of the family members couldn't hold back their tears. And most of them were even crying, like the ladies, some of the ladies have to even fall. And then some men were having their tears standing right on their eyes. They even called this the rise of the sun in the Gambia, because none of them did expect that the day of such would ever exist in the Gambia. Looking for the past 22 years, what have happened in this country, none of them did think that a day of this would ever come. So they described this the rise of the sun in the Gambia.
Well, so what is next for the exhumed bodies?
Exactly, the exhumed bodies is by the end of this week, starting from next week, the lead investigation and research team of the TRRC will be digging the remainings of the mass burial graves that they believe are in the Yundum barracks. According to the archaeologist Thomas Gomez, they know that this is a mandate given to them by the lawmakers of the Gambia, that's the parliament, through the TRRC. So they should be digging, they will continue their digging right away by next week. So some of the bodies would be exhumed. And the most interesting part of it, Alassane, before I go, is to tell you that none of these bodies is being able to recognize to say this and this is who. So according to the archaeologists, there will be further studies to further identify the remnants of these bones, because as you could see, there are only remains of bones and their underwears that they wore. 7 underwears were found, meaning there were only 7 bodies, and the cables they used to tie their hands, that were and plus 1 ring that was, I think that we all believe was in one of the fingers of the victims that were buried.
Oh, thank you very much, Sajo Sambu. That was Sajo Sambu, who was present there at the site. We move to a devastating fire that tore through the world-famous Notre Dame Cathedral was probably an accident, French prosecutors have said. Paris prosecutor Remy Head said that there was no evidence of arson in the blaze and that investigators are working on the assumption that the inferno was accidental. Mr. Head told reporters that the investigation will be long and complex. Police have begun questioning workers involved in renovation to the cathedral's roof where the first fire broke out. More on this in this report. Firefighters carry out inspections at Notre Dame Cathedral following a major fire in Paris, France. Prosecutors have ruled out the possibility of arson in Monday's massive fire which gutted Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. We are favoring the theory of an accident. Nothing indicates this as a deliberate act, Paris public prosecutor Remy Head told reporters. French investigators will interrogate the employees of construction companies involved in renovation work at the cathedral, Head said. adding that they are doing their best to learn the cause of the fire. Firefighters managed to douse the fire late on Monday after 8.5 hours. The fire caused the roof of the 850-year-old church to collapse. President Emmanuel Macron has pledged to rebuild the cathedral and launch a national fundraising campaign for the restoration. One of the city's most important tourist spots, Notre Dame, which means Our Lady, dates back to the 14th century. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I am Alassane Cisse. UNESCO Director General Andrew Azoulay said her organization was standing by the French people's side to safeguard and restore the invaluable heritage of Notre Dame Cathedral. Speaking to reporters in Geneva, United Nations Information Service, Director Alexandra Velucci said it was too early to say what the UN would be able to do. Adding that now the moment is for the French authorities to make an assessment of the situation, and then based on that, of course, the United Nations will stand and ready to help rather. Here is an insight.
Mrs. Azoulay said this morning that UNESCO has the expertise to react to this kind of disasters. She said they have done this in many parts of the world to affected heritage which has been destroyed or damaged by war, by conflict, by flooding, by other disasters. So she has offered that expertise very quickly, and apparently this is going to go on. But I think it's a little bit too early to say exactly what the UN will be able to do. I think now the moment is at the for the French authorities to make an assessment of the situation, and then based on that, of course, the United Nations will stand ready to help as much as we are asked for. But there has been already a spontaneous offer of support, especially in terms of expertise by UNESCO. She says we are already in contact with experts and ready to send an emergency mission to assess the damage, preserve what can be preserved, and plan short and medium-term measures. That's what the Director General of UNESCO said. The assessment will be carried out with the authorities concerned, including national and local authorities, site management and church authorities, in order to develop a plan of action, avoid further deterioration of the sites, and recover as many original elements as possible.
A young Swedish climate activist, Greta Thunberg, was invited to address the European Parliament after weeks of school climate change strikes around the world, inspired by the Swedish teenager. Speaking on behalf of young people who cannot yet vote in upcoming European Parliament elections, Thunberg called on the European Parliament to take action on climate change. Greta Thunberg began last year with a one-person strike at the Swedish Parliament, and which has grown into a global movement with students all over the world planning similar events. Here is an insight.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I am a climate activist from Sweden, and I received an invitation to speak in here, and I accepted it because this is a great opportunity to get out a message and to sort of speak on behalf of the young people who share the same concern as me, concerns about the climate crisis and ecological breakdown. I expect them to take action now because there's not much time. We still have an open window that is not going to be open for long, in which we can act. So we need to take that opportunity to do something, and they should really do something. I think it's essential to vote in the European election. I'm not going to vote in the European election because I can't, and so therefore it's especially important for those who actually can vote to use that in order to speak on behalf of people like me who are going to be affected very much by this crisis. To the young Europeans fighting for their future, I would say that you should continue because you are doing a great job. There has been hundreds of thousands of students in Europe only who have been school striking for the climate, and they have made history, I think, so they should be very proud of themselves.
Coming up after the break, United Nations Support Mission in Libya has condemned the increased use of heavy weapons and indiscriminate selling that has damaged civilian houses, schools and infrastructure.
Ano ko kanito ko ya so. Na broda mimba Europe ni sa konte. Ko mo ko kan sai na so ko na mano ban ta jabo ban ta tulo ban. Sai ka bol ko kan da ka ba su ko kana ba dama bulo mutarin ba ka ta sintila no. Ko ba to ngane ta ya kuri ma ko to ban na ta mano ta ni tulo ni. Munda, bete ni la broda man balwo service kalam. Mun service? Balwo service. Ni da ko ron ta mo kalam. Munda, apela broda ko. Abitala internet all. Aya ba sa kala woldo. balwo.com. Na yo saje a apo nga ba download la telephone lo na be sandiro to ni wal na be sirin ala office ko ndama manjar pura ta bank ko kodoki abe sirin office ko do daminto e do message so telephone ko no e biti ko be Gambia dawda biti ko ba bele ko ta tano dawda yeta tempo tawo oda ma yala bari wasa bis na ta mo da han na tanyo le kan ti na bro dan ka ko tanyo lo ayo ko ti da
balwo service dinkirala jampo o manken na kolya ko balwo service al demano kaje ko ale do mor feŋol sang alla dimbaya molu ana lakkanun tewol wato bela ani wat sudum fanan kono balwo service la dinkiralu ani la do kunyolu ibe banko karo beto kabirin katon fo koyna nalla fa ko ku ton so balwo service la kolto ali commandi telephone la no la milbuko 9400213 7694319 wala 3192870 wala hankabi alta internet do alila kolu jibe www.baluwo.com.
Welcome back. We remind you that you're watching the World Today Afternoon Bulletin. Let's now take a look at the remaining stories. A record high number of diplomats from Arab countries gathered in Moscow to take part in the 5th ministerial session of the Russian-Arab Cooperation Forum. While Russia and Arab countries declare that they have ideal relations behind the closed doors, it seems that they have more differences than they wanted to show. Some of them are linked to conflicting positions inside the Arab League. The participating countries confirmed their adherence to the two-state solution of the Palestine conflict. More in this report. Foreign ministers of 14 Arab states attended the 5th meeting of the Russian-Arab Cooperation Forum in the capital, Moscow. Speaking at a news conference following the meeting, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said all the participants spoke in favor of applying diplomatic means to ease tensions in the Middle East. He said the countries were united in rejection of foreign interference in internal affairs of states in the region and demanded respect of their sovereignty and territorial integrity. The participating countries confirmed their adherence to the two-state solution of the Palestine conflict, Lavrov said. In this regard, Moscow is ready to organize talks between the stakeholders in Russia, he added. The Russian diplomat also stressed the importance of normalization of ties between Iran and the Gulf nations. Saudi Foreign Minister Abdel Al-Jubeir said the issue of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict was discussed at the meeting. The need to respect international law and UN resolutions regarding the occupied territories was reiterated. The importance of a peaceful settlement to the war in Libya was another topic of the meeting, Jubeir told reporters. Commenting on the upcoming Russian presidential visit to the kingdom, he said, "We are just working on finalizing the dates." Reporting for iAfrica TV, I am Alhassan Sise. The United Nations support mission in Libya has condemned the increased use of heavy weapons and indiscriminate shelling that has damaged civilian houses, schools and infrastructure, and called for a humanitarian truce to allow for emergency services to access civilians trapped in conflict-impacted areas. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric told reporters in New York that many families fleeing conflict areas are heading towards the central Tripoli and its immediate surroundings. Here is an insight.
The UN support mission in Libya condemns the increased use of heavy weapons and indiscriminate shelling that has damaged civilian houses, schools, and infrastructure. The Secretary General's Special Representative, Ghassan Salameh, continues his outreach to call for a humanitarian truce to allow for emergency services to access civilians trapped in conflict-impacted areas. The number of people displaced due to hostilities in and around Tripoli is now approaching 20,000, according to the UN's migration agency. More than 2,500 people were displaced in the last 24 hours alone. Many families fleeing conflict areas are heading towards central Tripoli and its immediate surroundings, but more than 14,000 of those displaced have sought safety outside of the capital, including Tajura, Almaya, Ain Zara, and Tarhuna. More than 8,000 people have been reached with some form of humanitarian assistance. Libyan first responder teams report that civilian evacuations are increasing, with a significant number of casualties among those evacuated. 50 civilian casualties have so far been confirmed, including 14 deaths. These figures represent a case that could be individually verified and must therefore be considered a minimum. The Secretary General's Special Envoy is working with the government and all other parties in Libya, as well as international actors, trying to push for cessation of hostilities so we can move on with the political process. I think Mr. Salameh was very clear that the national conference was not canceled. He wanted to go forward with it, but there is an obvious impossibility to go forward while people are shooting at each other and while civilians are being shot at.
Well, viewers, that's all we have for you on the World Today Afternoon Bulletin. For more on these and other stories, log on to our website, iafrica.tv. I'm Alhassan Sise, and bye for now.